Hello, and welcome back to Old Charles, the channel where we dig into the stories and the real value behind the coins in your pocket and your collection. Today, we're tackling a coin that many of you have asked about, a coin that fills coin rolls and jars across America, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar. If you found one of these, or have a bunch from an old collection, you might be wondering, is this thing worth anything? Well, the answer is, it's complicated. Most are worth exactly their face value. But a tiny fraction of them are worth thousands. Stick around, because we're not just going to talk about the standard coin. We're going to hunt for the key dates, the notorious errors, and the specific, minute details that separate a 50-cent piece from a small fortune. First, a little history. The Kennedy half dollar was first minted in 1964 as a memorial to the assassinated President John F. Kennedy. It was a coin born from national grief and respect. Those first years, from 1964 to 1970, were struck in a 40% silver composition for circulation coins, making them intrinsically valuable for their silver content. 1964, 90% silver 1965 to 1970, 40% silver 1971 present, copper-nickel clad. But in 1971, due to the rising price of silver, the U.S. Mint changed the composition to the same copper-nickel clad sandwich we find in our quarters and dimes today. A core of pure copper, surrounded by layers of a copper-nickel alloy. So, the 1974 half dollar you have is part of this modern, copper-nickel era. No silver. That means its base metal value is, well, less than 50 cents. This is the primary reason why most 1974 halves are, frankly, just worth 50 cents. Now, let's break down the three main mints that produced these in 1974, Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. 1974, P*** 201,596,1974, D** 79,066,300,1974, S** 2,612,568. Whistle. That's a lot of coins. Over 201 million from Philadelphia alone. When a coin is produced in such massive quantities, it's considered common in any condition unless it's absolutely pristine. So, for a worn, circulated 1974 or 1974 D half dollar, you're looking at face value, 50 cents. If you have one that's uncirculated, it might be worth a small premium. We're talking $1 to $3, maybe $5 for a really beautiful, sharply struck example in MS-65 condition. The 1974 S had a lower mintage because it was only sold in proof sets to collectors. These are not circulation coins. They have a mirror-like finish and are usually in perfect condition. A standard 1974 S proof in its original packaging is worth about $5 to $8. Nice, but not a retirement fund. Okay, now for the main event. The reason you should be scrutinizing every single 1974 D half dollar you find. This is the famous, and incredibly rare, 1974 D doubled die. Obverse. A doubled die occurs when the hub, which imparts the design onto a working die, shifts slightly between impressions. This creates a secondary, slightly offset image on the die itself, which is then transferred to every coin struck by that faulty die. The doubling on the 1974 D is most prominent on the inscriptions, "In God We Trust." You can clearly see a distinct doubling, a ghosting effect, especially on the letters G, O, and W. In good condition. A worn example can still be worth $200 to $500 in uncirculated, MS-60 to MS-63. You're looking at $800 to $1,500 in high grade, MS-64 and above. Prices can soar to $3,000, $5,000, or even more at auction. This is the coin you are hunting for. If you have a 1974 D, get a magnifying glass and check, "In God We Trust," immediately. Now, the world of error coins is full of debate, and the 1974 half dollar has its fair share. Let's talk about two other famous, but highly controversial, varieties. Point 1. The 1974 no S proof. In some years, the San Francisco Mint accidentally struck proof coins without the S mint mark. For the 1974 S, a handful of these, no S, proof half dollars are believed to exist. Finding one would be like winning the lottery. A genuine example could be worth over $10,000. However, be extremely cautious. Often, the mint mark is just lightly struck or has been removed by someone. Authentication by a service like PCGS or NGC is an absolute must. This is a fun one. The Bugs Bunny variety is named for coins where a die chip makes it look like Kennedy has a protruding tooth, like the cartoon character. This is more common on earlier halves, like 1964 and 1965. There are rumors and reported examples of a 1974 Bugs Bunny, but it is not a widely recognized or major variety for this year. If it exists, the premium would be small, maybe a few dollars to a dedicated variety collector. Don't confuse it with the much more valuable 1974 DDDO. The coin is worn. Kennedy's hair details are soft or flat. The lines on the torch on the reverse are merged. Value? Almost always 50 cents. Light wear on the highest points, the hair above Kennedy's ear and the knee on the reverse. Still has a lot of detail and some luster. Might fetch $1 or $2. No wear. It retains its original luster. It might be brilliant and shiny, or it might have a more satiny, cartwheel luster. The details are sharp and crisp. This is where the value starts to climb, especially for the 1974 S proof or a high-grade 1974 D. The absolute best way to grade a coin, especially for valuable potential errors, is to send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. So, let's get practical. You've just watched this video. And you're ready to raid your coin jar. What are the steps? Sort by mint mark, ***, separate your 1974, 1974 D, and 1974 S coins, the magnifying glass hunt, ***, for every single 1974 D, carefully examine, in God we trust, under good light with magnification. Look for that distinct doubling. This is your number one priority. Parate any uncirculated looking coins from the worn, circulated ones. The shiny ones have more potential. Remember, 99.9% of these coins are worth face value. Finding the double die is like finding a needle in a haystack. But the hunt is part of the fun. When in doubt, get it checked, ***, if you think you found something truly special, like a strong double die, don't clean it. Join a coin forum, take clear, high-resolution pictures, and ask for opinions. For a potential big-ticket item, consider professional authentication. So, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar is a coin of extremes. For most people, it's a common piece of modern change. But for a lucky, observant few, it could be a hidden treasure worth thousands, all thanks to a dramatic mint error. A swift response ***, within days of the assassination, Mint director Eva Adams and chief engraver Gilroy Roberts began discussing a coin. The choice of the half dollar was strategic. The dime already honored FDR, and the quarter featured Washington. The half dollar, a larger canvas, was ideal for a portrait. Furthermore, it would replace the Benjamin Franklin half dollar, which had been in production since 1948. The design process ***, the design process was remarkably fast, a testament to the urgency of the project. Chief engraver Gilroy Roberts adapted his existing presidential portrait medal of Kennedy for the obverse, front. Assistant engraver Frank Gasparo adapted his heraldic eagle design from the same medal for the reverse. First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy and the Kennedy family were consulted. They requested the portrait be based on Kennedy's presidential portrait, facing left, and that the reverse include the presidential seal eagle. The design was officially approved on December 13, 1963, just over 3 weeks after the assassination. Congress passed legislation authorizing the new coin on December 30, 1963. There was no opposition. The public could not wait to get their hands on the new coin as a keepsake. 1964, a numismatic phenomenon ***, the first Kennedy half dollars were struck in 1964. The coin was an instant sensation. The public hoarded them en masse, not as investments, but as sentimental tokens. Despite the Philadelphia Mint striking over 273 million coins and the Denver Mint over 156 million, they virtually disappeared from circulation. The silver question from its inception in 1964 until 1970. The Kennedy half-dollar was minted in a silver composition. 1964 struck in 90% silver. This was the last regular issue U.S. circulating coin to contain such a high silver content. 1965-1970 struck in 40% silver. This change was a direct result of the Coinage Act of 1965. The rising price of silver was causing widespread hoarding and a coin shortage. The Mint removed silver from dimes and quarters entirely and reduced the half-dollar to a clad structure with a core of 21% silver and 79% copper, bonded to outer layers of 80% silver and 20% copper, resulting in an overall 40% silver content. Due to the ongoing hoarding, the Mint continued to strike 1964 dated coins well into 1965. All 1964 halves, regardless of when they were actually made, are 90% silver. The 1964 coin is the only Kennedy half to have this composition. By 1970, the price of silver had risen to the point where even the 40% silver coins were being hoarded for their melt value. They were no longer circulating effectively. In 1971, the U.S. Mint made a fundamental change to the circulating Kennedy half-dollar, adopting the same copper-nickel clad composition used for the dime and quarter since 1965. A pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This is the composition of the standard 1974, 1974-D, and 1974-S proof half-dollars. They contain no silver. Many consider the mid-1970s to be the last period when half-dollars were seen with any regularity in daily commerce. The 1974 coin represents the end of an era before the half-dollar transitioned primarily into a collector's item. By 1974, the San Francisco Mint, S Mint mark, was no longer producing coins for general circulation. Its sole function for the half-dollar was to strike proof coins for collector sets. This is why the 1974 S has a much lower mintage and a special, mirror-like finish. From 1971 to the present, the circulating Kennedy half-dollar has remained copper-nickel clad. Since 2002, the Mint has also issued special 90% silver-proof versions for collectors, but these are not intended for circulation and are sold at a premium. After 1974, public use of the half-dollar dwindled to almost nothing. Vending machines and cash registers were not designed for them. They became a novelty. Starting in 2002, the Mint officially designated business strike, non-proof, half-dollars as NFC. While they are legal tender, they are minted in much smaller quantities and sold directly to collectors at a premium over face value. They are not released into general circulation.